3D environments and the like character models, like actual models, not just JPEGs of their different emotional states, and they're actually being like environments to move through, and it's not just all 2D shit. Like, yeah, that game from very early on was meant to be for Switch.
Well, the thing about Awakening is that came out before the 3DS was out. Like 3DS, the big thing was Xenoblade Chronicles, for example, because they were able to make everything 3D, and it looked like it was from the Wii U.
What does Fates look like?
Kind of visually better.
Okay,
More 3D.
But is it the same style?
Similar style, but like you were saying, it's way more 3D. 3D backgrounds.
I mean, there's moments of 3D models
moments
in Awakening, but...
Yeah, but it's more overall. Like, there's a lot of situations where they just have, in Awakening, the top-down view from the map and just the sprites talking to one another with the paintings. In this one, it's like, we're in the world now. It's still blocky because it's not like, a console game or anything like that. But they're three-dimensional characters walking on a three-dimensional area, talking. In the story parts of the game.
I mean, yeah, I could see that it was initially thought of to be a 3DS game, but I just think early on... I mean, you also have to remember, like, just based on how they market the Switch now, they still consider the Switch more of a handheld than they do a console.
They do. They definitely do, but it's a more powerful handheld device than ones they've had in the past.
I mean, let's talk about it like how it really is. It's a handheld that can play console quality games, but it's a handheld that can go to your TV with a boost. But it's meant to be it's a handheld console.
I agree, but at the end of the day, the main reason why I said that in the first place about Fire Emblem was that the other people that made the same, like they made games shortly after Awakening, I mean, Three Houses came out, looked way better. That's the main reason why. Like, the quality of the environments are night and day.
That team already put out a different game?
Put out multiple games. It's like a big company that deals with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then, I mean...
With the visual aspects of the game. So
different people, different scope. Three Houses is huge.
Yeah, but then the other games were like huge as well. Like, one of them was it was a big open world game. It was called some Japanese title. I can't remember, but it looks really nice.
Also a different art style, I would assume. Like, Fire Emblem is intentionally cartoony.
Yeah, this other one was cartoony.
So that
the other one was very anime.
So they can thematically keep the theme very childish.
Yeah. And by the way, Tavin, the term is anime, not cartoons, okay? It's Japanese made, that means it's anime, okay?
I don't give a fuck.
Well,
it looks like a goddamn cartoon.
It looks like an anime.
So it's a goddamn cartoon.
Well, it's anime. There's a difference, Samurai Jack is a cartoon. Fullmetal Alchemist is a anime.
Okay, whatever. We're not getting into your little weeb nonsense.
Yeah, I like getting into it, though. If Phil was here, he'd want to get into it.
I'll tell you one thing, Connor. Fucking Fire Emblem Three Houses is a great fucking
game. It's still a good game. It doesn't matter at the end of the day.
That's a 10, Connor, right there. But you know what else is a 10? This episode. Because we are on episode 10 of the Two Penny Gamescast. That's right. What's poppin', players? Welcome back.
I wouldn't say it's a 10, most likely. More like an 8. A soft 8.
Well, but this is episode 10. That was the...
Oh!
That was the... Yeah.
Tavin, I'm sorry I squandered your...
Connor, you need to take an improv class.
Well, I'm not an actor, Tavin. So this is your elitist actor thing. Like, oh, you didn't take improv class?
Literally,
you didn't do theater?
fucking anybody can take one, though.
But why would I do that?
You know what
why would I do
the first
that,
thing they teach you in improv, Connor?
I would know. What do they do?
They say don't say no. It's a yes and.
Well, I just said
no. You build on what we're doing.
Just said no.
And here. Let's have a little heart-to-heart real quick.
Okay.
I know I tried to introduce the show, but you stopped me in my tracks.
Oh, I did. I know.
You stopped me in my tracks.
Totally ruined it.
So now we're going on this whole little diatribe here.
Yes, we have to.
Here's the thing. I need you to roll with me. Roll with me, Let's have some back and forth. Roll.
Well, technically, this is a back and forth right now.
It is.
And it's
because
more
I decided to roll with you instead of ignore you and continue with the...
Exactly. But, Tavin, I don't pay attention to you.
Obviously.
Because I completely missed the point about the 10.
You very clearly
It was smart, but I missed it.
Oh, I felt so clever. I thought of it like a minute and a half ago, and I felt so fucking clever. But, that got stepped on by your little punk ass.
Well, as recompense, we'll start the show now. In the better way to do it.
All right, what's poppin', players? This is your Two Penny Gamescast. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my piece of shit friend and co-host,
You didn't
Connor
say nicely.
Elliott. Say hi to
Hi, guys.
Connor. Yeah, hi. What a celebratory way to start off our 10th episode, Connor. You just took all the energy out of me. I don't even want to do the show anymore.
Okay. I mean, if you feel that way, okay.
All right, everybody. So here, the general gist is once a week, every Monday at 8 a.m. on your podcast service of choice that we provide on, we come to you with our 2 pennies, our 2 topics, and give you our 2 cents on it. This week, we're going to get a little businessy. Just a little businessy.
A little corporate.
A little corporate.
No sponsors, but we're going to get corporate.
No sponsors, but we're going to get a little corporate. We're going to talk some corporate. Man, I would like a sponsor, though.
I just put that thought into your head, didn't I?
No, I've thought about it since day one.
Oh, well, I never had thought about that actually until now.
But, you know.
Of course, that's why you're the showrunner.
Got it. Let's go ahead and get started with your first penny today. One that I think is a little bit of a wait and see. You know,
very big wait and see.
A very big wait and see. Let's see what happens with this. Excuse me. Amazon has announced their new cloud gaming service called Luna. This is I'm pulling from a Verge article written by Andrew Webster. At its 2020 hardware event, Amazon announced a cloud gaming platform called Luna. The news isn't too surprising. The service has been rumored since last year, previously codenamed Tempo, while an Amazon-made game controller leaked out just ahead of today's event. Today being whatever day this was, the 24th. It's not clear when Luna will launch widely, but it will initially be available on PC, Mac, Fire TV, and iPhone and iPad, with an Android version planned for after launch. Amazon says that... Oh, I've clicked off. Where am I? Hold on. Oh, my apologies. There we go. Amazon... Where was I? Android version after launch. Amazon says that interested users in the U.S. can request early access to the service starting today. There's no word on international availability. The service will be available for an introductory price of $5.99 a month during its early access phase, which gives subscribers the ability to play Luna Plus channel games across 2 devices simultaneously and offers 4K 60 FPS resolution for select titles. Naturally, it'll be powered by AWS, Amazon's ubiquitous web platform. Amazon says more than 100 games will be available via the Luna Plus channel, and launch titles include Resident Evil 7, Control, Panzer Dragoon, A Plague Tale Innocence, The Surge 2, Yooka-Laylee, Grid, Abzu, and Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. Amazon says more titles will be added over time. The company has also partnered with Ubisoft for a specific gaming channel. So, Connor, this is very big and very interesting news.
Yes.
If you don't know, Connor, Microsoft has been quoted when they started the press run for this new generation of consoles that they're more interested in the competition between Amazon and Google than they are with themselves and PlayStation. And put it bluntly, streaming is the future. The technology is not quite there yet, but it will be one day. And the sooner you jump in, I think the better. We saw last year Google jump in with Stadia, not the best launch.
Yeah.
Came in $10 a month. You still had to buy your games, and they only launched with 23 games. Amazon is saying for early access at least, which I think it's smart that they say early access here so that we're a little more forgiving when the technology doesn't work. $6 a month, and 100 games. And already just from the initial list, these games are more interesting to me than what Stadia launched with. Resident Evil 7, Control, Panzer Dragoon, Plague Tale Innocence, all of these are great games. So in terms of direct competition between this and Stadia, I think this is a much better approach, and I think right now they're kind of, just based off announcement alone, and you compare those 2 announcements, they're eating Google's lunch right now. Granted, we have to see for when the actual thing comes out, how it works, what the pricing models actually look like. Do we still have to buy games on here, or is it going to work more like a Game Pass scenario? I still think the front runner is Xbox with their xCloud.
They've been doing this kind of stuff for years, involved in video games. They've already kind of got a leg up on their opponents who are just coming into the scene, like Google and like
Amazon does.
No, Microsoft does. Yes, yeah. Okay. So now Amazon has a lot of catching up to do if they want to try to get to the level that they do, especially because Microsoft already has a lot of goodwill from people that have played their games for years now. And we have some other big news coming out about Microsoft of them
big news.
acquiring some studios, and we're probably going to see more of that happen in the future. So they really just kind of have a lot more going on.
I mean, Microsoft is the crew to watch right now. But in terms of just Amazon right here, I think this is a good start.
Yes, it is.
Let's see how you pull it off. We still need some more information.
Yeah. The introductory price makes me what's going to decide whether you increase it? Is it going to be deciding whether the technology
I assume it'll
works?
go up to $10 a month as soon as it actually releases.
And people I guess we'd also have to see the fallout the response to it. People, whether that
matters
it or
a lot.
Not. Yeah.
I mean, a $4 monthly difference in comparison to Stadia, that's a difference
compared to with the 100 games that they're also going to offer.
Also with the 100, this is very, very interesting news. It's a lot of just, as we said earlier, just kind of a wait and see how it launches, see how it performs, and see if people take to it.
I don't know if I've ever come across as saying this all that much, but I am skeptical of streaming as the future of gaming, whether I would actually want it or whether it would actually work. It's kind of a little bit of both on my feelings towards it. This is one of those situations where it could really more define my view and other video gamers' views of what streaming can offer to the table. So if Luna is able to successfully do what they're trying to plan on, then I think we could really see streaming take off with Luna.
Streaming is inevitable.
Well,
it's only a matter of time.
The problem is we've yet to have a successful streaming platform in comparison to the current model.
It's only a matter of time.
The
technology will advance. I mean, Connor, you have to look back when the internet first came out. You couldn't load a picture. You know? It would take a picture forever. Now, I can watch YouTube, granted at a low resolution, in the desert. You know? It's just, it takes time. Time will kill that argument. Streaming isn't something that's going to go away. I mean, when's the last time you bought a DVD? You don't. You go to Netflix, you go to Disney Plus, you go to Crunchyroll, or you can buy it digitally and own it and download it. But for most people, they're subscribed to a subscription service, a streaming service, a Hulu, an Amazon Prime, you know? And one thing specifically in terms of streaming, Amazon already has, in comparison to Google, Amazon already has the streaming backbone.
Yes.
With their Amazon Prime service and with, the Fire Sticks and everything that they do, they've got a bit of a leg up in comparison to Google. Now, Google does have the YouTube side of things, so, there's a little bit of an argument there, but I think in general this is a good start for Amazon. Will it come out and there's going to be input lag? Yes, there's going to be input lag.
Yeah. Will games be at top performing power?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Will it depend on where you live? Yeah, people in Silicon Valley are going to fucking love it. Us here in Texas are going to fucking hate it. Yeah, that's the way these things go for right now. 10 years from now, it's going to be a very different story. 20 years from now, our kids are going to be like, what? You had to go to a store to buy you had to buy video games? That's just the future. And I think the sooner you jump in on it, the better.
Now, the question that I have, though, is what will that do to the industry as a whole? Because, we've talked about the $70 game price that people are trying to push now.
Yeah.
$60 is the standard right now. So will game companies be able to think that, we'll be able to make a good profit off these streaming services?
I think a good way to predict how the future will look is by keeping an eye on how Xbox Game Pass performs this generation.
Now, that leads to the other problem. If this actually does do good, and they're going to advance the technology to the point where streaming becomes more popular and more mainstream, what's stopping companies like Sony from doing the same exact thing? They haven't stepped into that area yet, but they can easily do so to try and make as much.
They've had PlayStation Now.
They have, but
all generation.
How much did you play PlayStation Now? I know I
Not
did.
Once.
Yeah, because I got on there and
because the technology's not there.
Technology's not there, exactly. So even if Luna does good, Luna by itself, will that consist and keep doing good, or will it just be replaced by the next
It's also worth
thing?
saying PlayStation Now is built off of early 2010s technology.
Yeah, so they
like,
haven't,
it's not.
They
it's
haven't
not,
tried yet.
You know, and I've heard that they've updated and it works a lot better now. I don't care. It's a burn me once kind of a scenario there. But you know, people love xCloud. xCloud works for those who are in on that beta for the most part. I mean, we're in that in between space where it doesn't work well for everybody, but it's only a matter of time before it does. You know, nobody was watching YouTube in their car before the iPhone came out. And when the iPhone came out, YouTube did not play well in the car. But it didn't take long until it did.
Now, streaming as a whole, I do have one other concern about it. This is my main concern when it comes to streaming.
Okay.
Is what you see with a lot of those streaming services now, like Netflix, like HBO, all of those services, is that you've seen them fight over certain shows being on there. Like Netflix had the big news of all those Disney products being taken off, so they can do it on their own thing.
Friends has bounced around.
Yeah. So my problem is going to become a thing where, you have to pay this streaming service if you want to pay for this game, if you want to play this game, or
yes, there will be exclusives. There will be exclusives to certain titles. Stadia has exclusives.
So when it comes down to it, to the consumer, is it going to be more detrimental to them having to buy multiple streaming services, subscribe to them to play the games they want to do, or will it just be the same model as it is? Once again,
you're comparing free, maybe $4, $10 a month services to a $600 console every 7 years. That's the fight you're having. Now, granted, over the long term, you are spending more with these streaming services, but it's the same. It's the same argument with, for the amount we, paid for Netflix while Friends was on Netflix. We could have just bought the box set DVD of Friends, and my mom would have been fine with that and would have, loved that. Granted, she has the box set. She's a super fan, but that's beside the point. My point is like. I mean, you're right. That is a hassle, and it is a pain in the ass, and it's not super consumer friendly. But that's business, and that's capitalism, and I would argue that is in the. I mean, there's shades of gray here, but that is in the more tolerable parts of capitalism, in which it drives competition to put out the best stuff you can. There's a reason Disney Plus shot out of the gate so quickly, and other streaming services, your CBSs and your fucking whatever Peacock is or whatever, those have kind of middled and failed, and that's why Amazon Prime took a while to get off the ground, because Disney Plus said, "Hey, here's everything you already know and love, and more of that is coming in the future." Netflix didn't have Netflix didn't have House of Cards for the first several years that it was operating. First many years that was operating, if you include its DVD.
Yeah, that was a time frame that happened. I always forget about that.
Yeah, so these are questions. They're good questions. But these are questions that are answered with time, and you can kind of get a good feel of what it's going to be like now in the war between streaming services of Netflix and Hulu and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
It really does just come down to a time thing. Everything does. Every aspect of it.
This is a conversation we're going to have to revisit
many times.
We're going to have to, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, as just like little bookmarks, and just see, okay, what were the differences from here to there? It's very fascinating. It continues the conversation of what this next generation of gaming is going to be. It's going to be unlike anything we've ever seen before.
Yes. Well, we always see, advances in that area as it is. This is just another big step in a different direction.
Just another step. And to anyone who's paid even slight attention, Amazon entering the field is a big deal.
Yes. I mean, they are one of the biggest companies in the world.
Yeah. And then, fully diving into this industry can be a little scary, because Amazon is a company that's not afraid to burn money.
Yes, they have tons of it.
They've done it hundreds of times in the past. They've experimented with programs and just thrown bunches and bunches of money at it and had it go nowhere. But every once in a while it works,
and then they make their money back.
And then they make mad money back. It's very fascinating. It's almost scary. But, we're just going to have to see.
Yeah.
Are we all just going to end up like the movie WALL-E, fat in a bunch of floating chairs, looking at holographic screens all day? Probably.
Not on Earth anymore? Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Probably.
Maybe we'll be dead.
That kind of sounds fun to me, I'm not going to lie.
That sounds terrible to me. That sounds horrible. That is like dread. Wasting my life away in a chair. No thanks.
All right, Connor. Let's go ahead and jump into your second penny for today.
Getting mine out of the way.
Yeah.
Get out of your topics.
That's because
Connor.
I don't like your topics.
Yeah,
and I like
cares?
my topics.
Pass.
And I want to end strong.
Oh, yeah, I know you do.
My first topic, total crap, by the way. This is an article from Kotaku, written by Ethan Gack. Report:
Ethan.
Beyond Good and Evil 2 director Michael Ansel left Ubisoft amid investigation into complaints of toxic leadership. Rayman creator, Beyond Good and Evil 2 director, and longtime Ubisoft veteran Michael Ansel, I'm sure I'm pronouncing this name wrong, retired from the video game publisher earlier this month while being investigated for toxic behavior, according to a new report by the French newspaper Libération. Ansel, who had been at the company for over 30 years, announced last Friday that he was finally leaving to go work at a wildlife sanctuary. Libération now reports, and Ansel has confirmed in an interview with the newspaper, that he was in the midst of an investigation by Ubisoft into complaints that he had a toxic management style during the ongoing development of Beyond Good and Evil 2. Ubisoft confirmed the matter in a statement to Kotaku. Yves Guillemot committed back in July that any allegation will be investigated and no one will be outside of that process. And this would include Michael Ansel. And as Michael, something like that, confirmed to the journalist at Liberation, he is under investigation. The investigation is still ongoing, and we have nothing further to share as we respect the confidentiality of this investigation. The Liberation report, which details the development hell the game has been in for 7 years, shares accounts by Ubisoft employees who accuse Ansel of being so difficult to work with that other managers were eventually brought in to limit the number of people who had to interact with him. They also blame Ansel's management of the project, which reportedly included constant changes in scope and reworks, for an unusual amount of exhaustion, depression, and burnout experienced by members of his team. Quote, he is capable of explaining to you that you are a genius, that your idea is wonderful, then to dismantle you in a meeting, saying you are nothing but shit, that your work is worth nothing, and not speak to you for a month, end quote, one source told the newspaper. In an interview with Libération, Ansel said he was unaware that the people felt this way.
I had no clue. I had none.
And only seemed to acknowledge that the general difficulties associated with making an ambitious, big-budget game had taken its toll on Ubisoft. Montpellier, where Beyond Good and Evil 2 is being developed. So this continues the general story that we've covered a few times on this show of Ubisoft is cleaning house.
Yes. They're making good on that promise.
They seem to be making good on that progress. They don't, but they're also doing their best to keep it as quiet as they can.
Yeah. Well, when you have an investigation like this going on, I think that is for the best. You don't want to start making claims that may or may not be true. So, at the end of the day, I think that's a good way to go about things. Yes, but either way, they still are investigating, and I was skeptical when they said they were, because, you hear things like this from companies saying, we're going to make sure that everything's good and our workers are taken care of.
Yeah, but they also, both Ubisoft forwards, happen to have taken place after huge fires or huge names leaving the company, and then they only talk about it on Twitter, and they don't address it in their forward, which is where all the eyes will be. So they're like, clearly... And then they'll give some half-ass excuse of how there wasn't time to put a 45-second clip of Yves Guillemot saying, hey, this shit happened and it sucks. In terms of this story, from the jump, it sucks, but this is good news.
Yes.
When
this story first broke, the portion of the story first broke, I saw on Twitter saying that Michel Ansel was leaving Ubisoft. He was the creator
of... Is his name Michel?
Mikhail. Who cares? Honestly, he's an asshole.
He's an asshole. Fuck him.
Well, most likely an asshole. But I saw that he was going to start a wildlife sanctuary or work at one. I was like, oh, okay, good for him, I guess. And then this came out. I was like, oh, okay.
Now you got pushed out. And now you're doing whatever because you can't work in games anymore.
That's what makes me suspicious. The fact that he had an investigation going on, and rather than challenging it, is just like cutting his ties. Like, okay, let me just try and get past this.
Well, that's when you know you're
done.
That's when you know you've lost.
Yeah.
And then all these quotes that the article goes on to pull from him is all him trying to cover his ass or like make him not seem like the asshole he's reported to be. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've had some shitty managers.
Oh yeah,
and it fucking sucks when they just shit on you all day. When you're just trying to do the best job you can.
Yeah, surprisingly, I've never had that problem.
In already tense industry like game development, I'm sure that's fucking heartbreaking and it leads to serious, mental health issues and self-esteem issues and all this fucking
already
shit.
A tiring industry to work in. Yeah. Going in, working 60 hours a week sometimes. And
then having this guy just be an asshole on top of it. Like,
while he's getting paid way more than you ever will be.
Yeah.
It's probably a little bit grating after a while.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, shut up, dude. Yeah.
So, sympathies to those who, had to deal with it. Let's hope it goes,
somewhere.
Continues, Ubisoft continues to clean this house and make it a great company to work at.
At the very least, he's out, so that's a victory in and of itself.
Now, in terms of Beyond Good and Evil 2,
yes,
which I think is no secret that this game has been in development hell because it was announced 7 years ago and then re-announced 3 years ago at 2017 E3 or something. This game is going to be a mess.
All this
if it ever comes out.
When I first pitched the story in the chat that we're in, where we usually send ideas for what we want to do for the show. Mm-hmm. The first thing you said was that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is never coming out.
This game is fucked.
It's fucked. It's so fucked
man.
Beyond recognition. Now
and now there's reports of constant rescaling and scope changes and
which was the big thing. The big thing they said was this is going to be a majorly big game. It's going to be massive. And you're going to be traveling through star systems and such.
Yeah, but when you say that, have an idea of what your game is actually going to be.
Yes.
Like, to me, they still don't know what this game is.
I could believe in that.
From what I'm putting together here, and all the news we've had on it previously.
You know what doesn't make sense to me about Beyond Good and Evil itself is that it's the next edition in a game series that's a cult classic, and people want to see more of it, and it left off on like a cliffhanger, supposedly, and they're doing a prequel. Like, I know there's an ending where it's like, something's happened and, there's still more story to tell, and they're just doing a prequel.
I don't believe any of the hype behind this game.
I don't either.
I think this game will come out and flop no matter, even if all of the hype cycle was big or whatever, I am certain it would have flopped.
I haven't seen anyone talk about it for years now. Years. Like, this is the most recent thing I've heard about it at all. I forgot about it. I was like, that was a game that was announced.
This game, I mean, it might come out.
It might. I think it will.
It probably won't be great.
No.
Unless they, really put it on the back burner for another 7 years or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, we've had longer waits for games. Looking at you, Final Fantasy 15.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, this is ridiculous.
Yes, very, very ridiculous. And is him as the director leaving, is that going to be a good thing? Because I mean,
Rayman creator too.
Yeah,
wow.
Right. Yeah,
because that's not a small name.
No.
It's not just like some who cares guy. Like, this is a big guy.
I remember back in the day when I watched X Play, I think I saw an interview with him at some point, and it was like, that's nice.
He's been on E3 stages all the time.
Yeah, he's been there. Now he's gone.
Well, at least now he can't, crush any more dreams.
Yeah, now he can crush animals' dreams by working at a sanctuary.
But
yell at the penguins.
You know whose dreams refuse to be crushed on this show, Connor?
Who is that, Tavin?
That's mine, Connor. And that's hope for the new Mass Effect remastered trilogy.
Hey, in fairness to you, this is the biggest news about the
Listen, I've been saying for weeks, I've been saying for months before we even started this show, this remastered collection is coming. Now, if you had asked me before this last week what I thought this remaster was going to be, I would have guessed a very lazy port in which the game looks a little bit better, but for the most part is the exact same. But from a new article from GamesBeat, written by Jeff Grubb, who seems to be the main, he knows it all when it comes to this Mass Effect trilogy remaster. He's coming out. He's saying things are going to be a little different this time, Connor. And this intrigues me. So, GamesBeat, Mass Effect Legendary Edition is still coming, but not in 2020. Let the record show that I thought it also wasn't coming in 2020.
No, you did not. You said it was going to come out in October.
No,
you said it speculated it.
I was hoping for October, but COVID pushed it to 2021 for me. I told you this last week. Maybe it was off air. How dare you throw me under the bus? What are you just making noises into the
because
fucking mic for?
Tavin, I remember you saying it was this year, and now it's not. I remember.
Electronic Arts still hasn't revealed Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and that's for a reason. The publisher originally planned to launch the remastered trilogy with an October reveal and release, but now EA and developer BioWare are pushing that release into early 2021, according to people familiar with the development. The primary factor holding up development beyond the pandemic is the original Mass Effect game. It currently does not live up to the quality of the rest of the package. We'll double back to that.
Did you know that Mass Effect 1 is the best Mass Effect?
It would make a poor first impression for new players. I might agree with that. And it might disappoint fans who then won't go on to play and experience the impressive upgrades for Mass Effect 2 and 3. I don't agree with that. This is a problem with both visuals and gameplay. The people working on the game understand the issues, and they want to do right by the franchise's fans. But one aspect those fans won't get to experience, regardless of how much time BioWare gets, is the multiplayer. EA doesn't plan to include the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer in the package. Something like that would turn this remaster into a live service game that is likely not worth the investment. The publisher could instead put those resources into Apex Legends or another new cooperative shooter, although this is just my speculation. Jeff Grubb, enough with the speculations, bro. There's already enough speculations in this story.
So we speculated the multiplayer?
No, he's speculating putting the resources into what?
Yes.
No, he's saying the multiplayer not happening.
Yeah, that's just
which I expected.
It's still disappointing to me.
It is very disappointing because that was a good multiplayer. It was fun.
It was fun. Now, you and me, probably a very minimal amount of people that liked it and played it a lot.
No. It was.
I feel like it was
successful. It was successful.
Was it?
Yeah.
Huh.
I always say Mass Effect 3 is the reason we have microtransactions in video games now.
They did have a lot of microtransactions.
Yeah.
If you wanted all those characters and such.
It was that, and then immediately followed by like Dead Space 3.
Dead Space 3, yeah.
Yeah. Those are the two that I see is why in the AAA space why there's microtransactions.
Well,
and it's why we got things like the launch of Battlefront 2.
Yeah. But that all aside, it's you and me are kind of surprised that this isn't just a port.
I'm very surprised.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised. So probably some visual and some performance fidelity upgrades to 2 and 3. That makes sense. 1 was always in a conversation of, hey, maybe they're gonna update it, give it some new gameplay, maybe it'll be a full remake. I still don't think it's gonna be a full remake.
No.
There's a floatiness to the first game that the other two don't have, because the other two play more like shooters, and the first one is an actual RPG. So I could see them dialing in that shooting, making it a lot tighter, maybe unifying it with 2 and 3 shooting a little more. Maybe making the cover system into a button instead of, because I don't know if you remember, because it's been a long time since you've played. I've recently platinumed the Mass Effect.
Yeah, of course you did.
The first Mass Effect, you don't press a button to get into cover. You just run up to a wall and Shepard automatically jumps into cover.
I do remember that.
And it's clunky. It's very clunky. And, there are moments in that game where it feels like the game cheats sometimes. And that's because it's not an action game. It's an RPG. It may fool you because it looks like an action game, but it is not. It's an actual RPG. You have to time things out and, use your abilities and your teammates' abilities in tandem with each other. This excites and concerns me. Because as much as I love that trilogy, Mass Effect 2 is a disappointment to me personally, coming off of Mass Effect 1, because of how limited in scope it is. Not so much narratively, there's a lot of different paths you can take with characters. But for the most part, mechanically, super limited. You only have 4 or 5 abilities. You only have 2 types of each weapon type. If you're not the soldier, you only have 2 weapon types. There might be a few classes where you have 3. And it's kind of, there's just not a lot to do in it. I also think the shooting, though it's tighter than 1, I think it's less engaging than 1. Because there's so much, it's just shooting. And that's really it. Abilities like Overload or Warp become your main abilities. You don't really play around with Throw or Pull or, Lift is taken out of the game completely. And there's a lot of other biotic abilities that just kind of fall to the wayside. Whereas in 1, that game is a biotics game to me. And it's so fucking exciting to combine all those powers together. And there is more variations in the narrative than any of the other 3 games. Entire characters can kind of move up and down the Paragon and Renegade scale depending on your interactions with them, and they follow Shepard's example. Garrus is the best example of this. He can either become more of a Renegade or more of a Paragon depending on how you interact with him and how you interact with him in your party. Or how you interact with the world while he's in your party. And that has a direct effect in Mass Effect 2. Garrus' backstory changes in between the 2 games depending on how you interact with him in the first game. Now, he always starts in the same. He's always the mercenary. He's always the guy gunning down all of Omega's gangs. But the story behind that is always, or can be, different. So, when you say you're giving it all these visual and gameplay upgrades, what does that mean? Are we limiting it, or are we keeping it as expensive as it is, and we're just, tightening it up?
Yeah. Well, you're in the minority. I think you can say that safely when it comes to people who consider what's the better Mass Effect game.
I think
people
casual fans. I think hardcore fans, people who love Mass Effect, I think my argument is stronger.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. But that still being said, there's a lot of casual fans out there.
There's a lot of
play Mass Effect.
Well, Mass Effect is a mainstream franchise.
It is a mainstream franchise. So it's been a long time since I played it. You played it recently, obviously from your gloating about the platinums and hours upon hours you spent in that game, because I know you spent a lot of time in that game. Yes.
Too many hours.
A little bit too much. Yeah, all 3 games platinuming. But besides
I'm itching for the time I get to go back. I want to go back.
Yeah, I can agree with some of your points. I still had a way more enjoyable time with Mass Effect 2 because the characters were better overall. You had more interactions with them.
I disagree with that.
Thane.
Thane? What about Thane?
He's
a great character.
I tried to appeal to you too.
He's a great character. Yeah.
Into not.
Don't get me wrong. I love Mass Effect 2.
No, well, you platinum 3 games.
Yeah,
like, in a sequence.
I love all 3 of those.
But
games.
you've consistently said that you like Mass Effect 1 more than 2.
Yeah, Mass Effect 1 is my favorite.
I do agree with you. There's less RPG elements in 2.
Yeah,
there's more of the focus on the shooting. But the tightness of that game, from
my memory, 3 has the best balance.
It does have a really good balance
in terms of RPG, gameplay, RPG mechanics, and stuff.
Or a story, but still,
no, it's story.
Mass Effect 1 and 2, I had a better time
Mass Effect
with.
3 story.
Mass Effect 2?
No, 3's.
Yes, Mass Effect 1 is limited to 3 in compared to 3. Like, what are you saying?
3's story is limited. There's only 2 options in every dialogue wheel.
I think you meant the world as a scope. Okay, never mind. Yeah.
No.
Well, that's true.
And then there are certain story beats in the 3rd act that don't work for me. And I'm not talking the ending. I'm talking a couple of levels before the ending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So probably dealing with Cerberus, I'm guessing.
What?
Dealing with Cerberus, I'm guessing?
Yeah. So the Cerberus subplot doesn't end
that
very well.
No, it does not, if I remember correctly. But with all that being said, I'm interested to see how well they improve on these games. Maybe Mass Effect 1 can become better, like objectively and calm people's minds than 2.
It might. It might become the definitive Mass Effect game, which
seems like
I would love.
They're obviously spending the most time on Mass Effect 1 with the gameplay. And as far as the article says, it holding back the other 2 games from being released in the remaster.
Mass Effect 1, I don't know if you know this, Connor, because you only played it once or twice.
Twice, yeah.
Mass Effect 1 has dedicated missions or story arcs to each backstory that you give Shepard.
Yes.
So there's the sole survivor one. You find another survivor who went crazy and went after Cerberus and is killing all these scientists and shit, and you have to go and you have to stop him. There's a couple others that I don't remember.
Yeah, because
that one was my favorite.
You did one, mainly.
That's all I remember is that one being my favorite.
Yeah, I remember that being more of a gimmick in the first one, because I did encounter something from my past. I can't remember what it was, but I remember doing it, and it was over. And I never saw it come up in 2 or 3 again. I don't know if like some of them don't progress past the first game from those backstories, because obviously one of them involves,
the Soul Survivor one definitely does.
Yeah.
I don't know if the other two do. I know there's one where like some lady who was kidnapped by the Batarians who killed your colony or whatever was experimented on. You have to bring her down off the edge.
I think that was it.
There's another one where like one of your parents' old friends is like down on his luck and might be an alcoholic or whatever, and you have to help him out. And then there's some other stuff in there that I don't remember. It's a big game, and the more you roleplay in it, the more it rewards you. And then there's also just a lot of great side missions and side story arcs that people don't talk about, because I think, well, Mass Effect 1 does a poor job of signposting you to the different side stories. You mostly just jump to those 3 main planets and then finish the game. But if you really like do all the exploration and like everything in that game, oh my god, dude, there's layers upon layers upon layers upon layers. And if you incorporate all of that into your conception of who Shepard is, it basically just drives Shepard's actions for the rest of the trilogy. The foundation is super strong in Mass Effect 1.
I remember playing Mass Effect 1 and I did it because Mass Effect 2 had just come out and it looked good, and I thought to myself, might as well rent it from the video store. You guys remember that? And I loved it, and I played it, and I had fond memories of it. But looking back on it, I also can't help but think it was very, it had a lot of weaknesses to it. It was very flimsy.
Oh, it's got issues.
It was very floaty. That's a good way to put it.
It's got issues. It's floaty.
Yeah. Loading screens, I remember hating those because you just sit in elevators so much.
I don't think they're that bad.
On the Citadel, I remember it was pretty bad from my experience.
I don't think they're that bad.
Either way, they have a chance to fix everything that people had gripes about with Mass Effect 1 when compared to other Mass Effects with this remaster.
Yeah.
And time seems to be a big theme of this episode, but there you go. Wait for it to come out.
Can't wait. This is also, all of this was followed by, I can't remember the way in which these were.
It was following.
It was following rumors, Connor, and this is what got me excited, Metal Gear Solid coming to PC with a Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 and the original Metal Gear coming to PC. There's rumors of that. But Metal Gear Solid was going to be a remake. Oh boy, did that make my ears perk up.
Well, there was that situation back in the day when that independent studio tried to do a remake, and then Konami shut that down. So
could have been tied in. They could have taken that, whatever. They could have done some Konami bullshit because Konami is bullshit. Fuck Konami, But I do want a Metal Gear Solid remake.
You do want it, but
I'm in a tough spot.
I don't know, man. Any other company, I would say likely, but Konami just hasn't. What have they done recently?
Metal Gear Survive back in
2016,
17,
something like that. So what's next?
A Metal Gear Solid remake would be what's next.
You would think it would be. Logically, but I can't trust Konami to
No, neither do I. Neither do I. And let me start off. I don't fully believe that this remake is coming.
No, it's rumor.
Especially because, like, a day or two later, they put out the original Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance, and the original MSX Metal Gear game on GOG on PC. So you can play all 3 of those games right now, along with like a Castlevania collection and some other Konami classics. But Metal Gear, of course, was the big headline.
Yeah. A lot of some of your favorite games may be coming out.
I know.
Yeah.
And this is a great time to be me. Mm-hmm. I'm living in the prospect of greatness before reality comes crashing down and ruins it all. But I'll say this, Connor, this is not the first time I've been in this state. A few years ago, Spider-Man. There's a lot of promise for Spider-Man,
Yeah.
And all of it delivered.
Yeah, all of it delivered. That came out.
It was all fantastic. The movie, great. The game, fantastic. The sequel to that movie, also really good. Not great, but really good.
Yeah.
So, Spider-Man, fucking great. Loving it.
Maybe you'll get 2 good things in a row.
Maybe a great thing with my 2 favorite franchises just coming out, bam, we're better than ever. Now you can play us everywhere. Oh man, that'd be fucking great. What? I can get platinums for the original Metal Gear Solid game? Oh my god. I can't have that now. I want that now. And it's going to be a remake? What?
You can't? I thought it was on
Metal Gear Solid 1? No.
I thought it was on PS3. It just doesn't have a platinum?
Nope, it's through a PS2 or a PS1 Classics emulator thing.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, no, yeah. It even, it has, the old menus, and, the buttons are wrong, and...
it's made for a PlayStation 1
It's made for a PlayStation 1. Yeah. It even tells you to swap discs. And it's like, this is a digital copy. What do you mean swap discs?
Click X, and then just says, okay, you change it.
Yeah, you have to dig in the menus.
Really?
Yeah, you have to hold the PlayStation button down, and
really
then the menu pops up, and you have to dig a little bit and switch discs. It's a hassle.
A lot of opportunity for Konami there, if they'll take it.
But can you imagine a Psycho Mantis boss fight post 2020? What does that even look like?
Can they read your data?
Oh my God.
Will they be able to?
Yo, what if you just read your Google search history?
Pornhub. Yes. BBC is what you were looking at. You're going to be scared of that day, Tavin.
Fuck you. Totally threw me off there. Yeah, I want remakes for the first 3 Metal Gear Solid games. Fuck it. Give me remakes to Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. Fuck it.
You want it all.
Give me those. Give me all of it. You can stop at 3.
Rumors, though.
You can stop at 3.
If we're going to get remakes at all.
Yeah, I don't believe we will, but it's exciting.
So that's the realism setting in.
What do you think it would be? You think it would be more of a Final Fantasy VII remake or a Resident Evil 2 remake?
Neither.
You think it's its own lane?
I'm just joking, but that's more of me making fun of Konami, flubbing it in some way.
Oh, because it's never going to happen.
Honestly, it won't be the same quality, I don't think. I really don't think it would be of those remakes.
I meant in terms of structure.
In terms of structure, that's a different matter.
Because Resident Evil 2 is a remake of Resident Evil 2.
Yes, it is.
7, no spoilers, takes some liberties.
Yeah. I would probably Resident Evil. I don't think
you're probably right, unless Konami gets involved, or I'm sorry, Kojima gets involved,
which he probably won't.
Probably not, unless he
doesn't have his own game.
Unless he passes it off to someone new.
Yeah,
and they talk about it or whatever. But that's about all we have to say. The concrete news for that Mass Effect there. Man, I'm hoping those come out. I'm hoping it's good. But Connor,
the big news.
You know what else is good?
Is it?
The spiciness of this console war.
It's very console good. War, yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna jump into my second penny here. Our fourth and final penny of the day. Xbox has acquired Zenimax. And if you don't know, that's all of Bethesda. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of games. And that's a lot of studios.
That's Obsidian.
Machine. No, they already owned Obsidian. Obsidian was not owned.
Oh, yes, they did take that before. Machine Games.
Machine Games, id, Bethesda Game Studio. Let me read from the Xbox website. Today, this is from the Xbox website. It says the byline says Phil Spencer, head of Xbox. I don't know if he really wrote it or if in collaboration with a bunch of other people. Who knows? But today is a special day. This is Monday of last week because this news came out hours after the last episode went live.
Yes.
Today is a special day as we welcome some of the most accomplished studios in the game industry to Xbox. We are thrilled to announce Microsoft has entered into an agreement to acquire ZeniMax Media, parent company of Bethesda Softworks. As one of the largest, most critically acclaimed, privately held game developers and publishers in the world, Bethesda is an incredibly talented group of 2,300 people worldwide who make up some of the most accomplished creative studios in our industry across Bethesda Softworks. Bethesda Game Studios, id Software, ZeniMax Online Studios, Arcane, Machine Games, Tango Gameworks, Alpha Dog, and Roundhouse Studios. I don't know what those last three are.
One of them made Evil Within. I think it was Alpha Dog, maybe. I could be wrong, though.
Evil Within's a good game. Mm-hmm. These are the teams responsible for franchises like The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Wolfenstein, Doom, Dishonored, Prey, Quake, Starfield, and many more. It's weird that they said they included Starfield in it. It's not a franchise.
Nope.
It hasn't happened yet.
Well, they're trying to push that, obviously.
Yeah. And many more. Bethesda games have always had a special place on Xbox and in the hearts of millions of gamers around the world. Our teams have a close and storied history working together, from the amazing first Doom and its id Tech engine, and innovating games on PCs to Bethesda bringing their first console game to the original Xbox, the groundbreaking Elder Scrolls III Morrowind. Over the years, I've had many deep conversations with the creative leaders at Bethesda on the future of gaming, and we've long shared similar visions for opportunities for creators and their games to reach more players in more ways. Connor, this is huge.
Yes.
This damn near doubles the amount of studios under the Microsoft umbrella, and holy shit are these some heavy hitters. The conversation of who has the best first-party studios is dead now. It's not... Well, maybe it's not dead, but now it's more debatable than ever before.
Than before it was, yeah.
Because before this acquisition, PlayStation was running away with it. Now, in recent years, Xbox has acquired some great studios, Double Fine, Obsidian, etc. I'm super excited for Obsidian's next game. But this, holy fucking shit. Like, these aren't small players.
No. They're Bethesda's one of the most favored game companies recently. Kind of gone down in recent years.
4 years ago, will Bethesda be purchased by Microsoft? I would have said, fuck no. Bethesda's almost as big as EA. Like, no, they're not. Now, granted, it was a pretty penny that they were purchased for. It doesn't say here, but they bought Zenimax for $7.5 billion.
Yeah.
Which is almost double what Disney bought for Star Wars.
So it's kind of just like, well, Bethesda, you can't really... Zenimax specifically, you can't really say no to that deal.
Fuck, that's a big paycheck. Yeah. Somebody is retired.
Oh, yeah, he's like, I don't have to work with fucking video games anymore, finally.
Oh, dude, somebody retired early. Holy fucking shit, dude. Now, this leads to a bigger conversation that involves this next generation as a whole. Bethesda games have always been third party. You can get them PC, PlayStation, Xbox, wherever you want.
This is my biggest worry, because it's still going to obviously come out on PC. There's too much of a market there.
Xbox puts all their games on PC now.
But even then, there's too much stuff you can do on PC with these, Bethesda titles like Skyrim that you can't do on consoles. But my big worry...
I'm sure that will change this next generation.
Possibly. But the thing that I'm worried about, like you were going to go into, is PlayStation. Where are they going to be left in all this?
Can I play my Elder Scrolls 6 on PlayStation?
Yes.
Can I play the next Doom game on PlayStation? Wolfenstein 3, where does that go? Now, it is worth noting, PlayStation already had deals with Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo to be exclusive. And Xbox has said, hey, yeah, we're honoring that deal. Those games are still exclusive. Do they remain exclusive forever? I doubt it.
No, I don't
especially
think so.
Since PlayStation has already opened up the idea to putting more games on PC. Horizon Zero Dawn is on PC. Death Stranding is on PC. And a lot of people are saying those are the best places to play them, of course.
Yeah.
So will Deathloop eventually make its way to PC and probably even Xbox? Yeah, I assume so. Probably a lot sooner now than it would have initially. But, man, this is crazy, dude. Elder Scrolls and Fallout are on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Now. Like, you can just play those games.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, I can.
Holy crap. Like, this is huge.
Now, it seems that studios that have been acquired by Microsoft still release third-party games. I don't know if I'm right about all that, but it seems like they still did that.
A lot of it falls into the, like, awkward area because, like, Xbox bought Obsidian... like, right as Outer Worlds was launching. So it was like, oh, well, we can't do that. But Minecraft is owned by Xbox.
Yeah.
And Minecraft is on everything. Literally, everything. Yeah. Like, it still gets updates on PlayStation.
Yes.
And they've later gone on and said, hey, we know all these games have been on everything before. We're going to take it by game case on whether or not it will continue to be that way. My guess is... more games than not are going to be Xbox exclusive. Now, that, of course, means Xbox and PC because of how Xbox runs things now, which basically just means excluding PlayStation and probably Switch, but Switch for a limited time. We already see games like Ori and the Will of the Wisps is on Switch right now.
Yes, Hades came out on Switch as well.
Cuphead is on Switch. Hades is a PC game. It's not an Xbox game.
It's
an indie dev studio. So, like, Cuphead... Ori, those are on Switch.
Nintendo's kind of a weird place all the time.
But Nintendo has always been kind of buddy-buddy with Xbox these last couple of years.
Yeah.
It's where PlayStation, has been taking their ball and going home with it, and so Xbox seems, I would assume, will respond in kind. We can say for certain if the roles were flipped and PlayStation bought Bethesda, There's no way in hell we would ever see Fallout on an Xbox ever again.
No.
This, we might. It depends. PlayStation sells a lot more consoles than Xbox, and Xbox knows this. You know?
Yeah. They have some exclusives
I'm going to... This year, we're over 110 million PlayStation 4s. Compared to, you assume, somewhere in the 50 millions of Xboxes. It's hard to tell because they've never released numbers.
No. Definitely lower. So
definitely lower.
This is their chance to really just dig into PlayStation, Sony if they want to.
Well, here's the thing. Do they let all that money go to waste? Or do they say, yeah, fuck it, put fucking Fallout on PlayStation. We're getting that money anyway.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah.
You know, these are questions that they have to ask.
Yes.
I would guess, for the big titles, your Elder Scrolls, your Fallout, maybe even your Dooms, they're going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
For your smaller titles, your Evil Withins, your Preys, your whatever Arcane does next after Deathloop, maybe even your Wolfensteins.
Yes.
Those, I assume, will be exclusive.
They have a higher chance of being it, at the very least. Now, they can also still release it on PlayStation because they will have Games Pass being pushed more. So they can say, well, you could buy a $60 game on PlayStation and have it there if you'd like, or you can just pay this simple subscription and play that game plus all these other ones.
Right.
They might already have the leg up in that area, and just acquiring more studios is just a way to say, well, you know, you'll be saving money with us, so do what you want.
This announcement was also genius because it happened the day before Xbox Series X pre-orders went live.
Yeah.
So, like, man, way to get the hype train rolling.
Now, did those pre-orders mess up? I haven't heard anything about them.
Well, of course, but, yeah. Every site crashed.
Okay.
Every
with
site
Xbox
crashed.
as well, then, too.
Well, the difference is Xbox told people ahead of time, hey, we're pre-orders will go live this day.
Okay, yeah.
And pre-orders went live. And then, you know, everything went to shit. But that's kind of how everything works technology-wise anyway. Like, when
it's almost impossible not to at this point.
Yeah, when you have just a huge mass of people coming in and trying to do the same thing all at once, it you know, I don't know these things, but I've heard it doesn't matter how many servers you throw at it. Like, the systems just can't handle it. So that's like a thing where like someone much smarter than literally everybody in the world has to come in with a solution. But yeah, so I would say Xbox has had a much better tee up to next generation than PlayStation has.
Yes. PlayStation has a lot of games that are being focused on.
Yeah.
You know, God of War, Spider-Man, Final Fantasy. But
I would make the argument that in terms of positioning and in terms of if you want to play into the console wars thing, which both you and I don't like to do a whole lot, we compare, but we don't go into the console war like nonsense.
My issue is only that one of them, this is going to exclude certain games from certain platforms.
Sure.
That's all I really care about.
But I would say in terms of next-gen hype, Xbox is kicking the crap out of PlayStation right now.
They came in and just, they knew what they were doing, and they've executed it all pretty well.
Yeah. Now, will it matter? Who knows? When you have double the amount of PS4s than there are Xbox Ones, and you already have that buy-in with God of War 2 and Horizon 2 and Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, a lot more assurances that, hey, you're going to be getting games coming soon after PlayStation 5 is released.
Whereas, like, with this, you know, a lot of great Bethesda games, a lot of not-so-great Bethesda games.
Yeah.
You know? Fallout 76 was a flop. Fallout 4, disappointed.
Yes.
Still good, but disappointed. Who knows when we're getting Elder Scrolls 6 or even Starfield?
Yeah, Starfield's obviously coming before, but who knows either one.
Prey, you know, didn't hit off in a major way. People liked it, but it didn't hit. It didn't hit. Dishonored does the same thing, where people like it, but it doesn't hit. You know, that spin-off Wolfenstein game was crap.
Yeah, you and me both played that together. Yeah, we can attest to
but
that.
Doom Eternal was phenomenal. You know? Deathloop looks phenomenal. But that's Arcane. Arcane makes great games.
Yeah.
Ghostwire Tokyo looks interesting.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Kind of gone down the hill with the designer leaving, but...
Yeah, well, it doesn't look like a horror game anymore.
No.
It looks like an action game, which I find personally disappointing, but
yes,
whatever.
So do I.
Yeah, so this is a lot of interesting. This is a very wait-and-see episode. It's a very wait-and-see.
We're
going to wait. We're going to see. And, you know, we'll be here. We'll talk about it. we'll hit you with that answer.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, late. You'll probably know the answer.
Oh, yeah.
How Twitter works. But, this is phenomenal. God, I cannot believe this. This was the biggest holy shit moment in terms of video games for me this year. Maybe even the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is huge.
Outside of video games themselves and the industry surrounding it, it definitely is one of the biggest news that's come out recently.
I saw somebody say the only Bethesda game to come to PlayStation 5 is going to be Skyrim.
Yeah, maybe, who knows? Maybe.
Oh my god, that's funny. Did you also see? There was a conversation on Twitter about whether or not Obsidian might have access to make a Fallout New Vegas 2 now.
I saw that. We talked about it too. Yeah. Little shrugging emote character.
Yeah,
that's all
that's
they gave
exciting.
me.
That's fun. That's cute. That's clearly like a hey. There's been no talks, but it's possible now.
And honestly, they've honestly been working on a new game, and I doubt it's going to be.
Oh,
Fallout
it's going to
New
be
Vegas.
years before we see anything like that because they're still doing huge expansions for Outer Worlds. They've got their Avowed game coming, which looks like a Skyrim clone.
It looks like a good Skyrim clone.
It does.
High quality Skyrim clone.
Well, Obsidian's a great studio. They make great games.
Yes.
Man, we should play Outer Worlds.
I think I might have to cut it on it. Cut myself off from it. Yeah. I don't think it did enough to capture me.
I still fantasize about going back.
Think about it.
I still think about
the wee hours.
I think I will. Not anytime soon.
Not anytime soon.
Not anytime soon.
And then a couple months later from now, I'll say the same thing.
Here, I'm gonna guess the next drought we're in of games. I'm gonna guess that's when it happens.
Well, fair enough. Or you'll go back to Three Houses. That's what I'll be doing. Okay, Three Houses again.
Connor, that's it for the news. We have spent all of our pennies.
Yes. No pennies left to buy gumballs.
Fuck, we don't have any gumballs.
Mm-mm.
Why did you let me spend all my pennies?
Well, do you have games to talk about?
I do have new games. Do you have games?
I have one. Because once again.
Well, Connor, what have you been playing this week?
Surprisingly, I don't know if you've seen me playing it on our Discord channel with the guys. Overwatch. It's been a while since I've hopped on that game because I got a PC. I stopped playing it on console for a while when our friends moved to PC. So I was like, okay, I'll get PC. Might as well get it because I had fun with it. And then I played it and I was just like, why would I get a PC and play this game? And so I just tossed it to the side, deleted it, and played other games, and I've had a lot of fun. But recently, I was like, I caught myself thinking, I had fun with it, and they're playing it a lot. Might as well try it again. I mean, I have it. I have a lot of space. Since I was originally going to start playing For Honor again, but you were right. The player count on PC compared to PlayStation is night and day. It's
abysmal.
Abysmal. It's even abysmal between Xbox and PlayStation, but PC especially has 4,000 players currently operating right now.
Compared to what?
The numbers that I saw, I'm skeptical about these numbers in the millions.
No,
that's what I heard. Yeah,
no.
Realistically, that was probably outdated.
There's no way For Honor has 1 million concurrent players.
100% sure. 100,000 around that much.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
I could buy that, but 1 million, no, not a chance.
But I put that off to the side. So Overwatch is what I'm playing now, and I got to be honest. I'm happy to be back. You and me both played that for years with our other friends. You fell off of it quicker than I did, well, for obvious reasons. I understood.
I've toyed with the idea of going back, but I don't think I will.
That's completely fine.
It's always do I want to play that? And then I think about it and I go, probably not.
Yeah. Mercy's back and being popular again. She's actually useful, but
cool.
Yeah, I just know that's who you played all the time.
I did 100 hours of that, and I'm cool. I don't need another 100 hours of that.
Yeah, it's one of those games that I thought I would feel the same way, but I hopped back on it.
However much it is on PC right now.
$20.
That's a pretty good deal. But I'm still not going to do that.
Yeah. But that's really, it's been out for 4 years. If you haven't played Overwatch, you haven't played
Overwatch.
it. If you hate it, there's a lot of people that hate it.
How has it been since the last time you played it? Lots of updates, lots of new maps, lots of new characters?
Actually, no. There's Echo, the new character, but that's it.
That's it?
Because Overwatch 2...
They're gearing up for Overwatch 2.
Exactly. I said that I had the same conversation with Fergus, saying, hey, not much has changed since I've been gone. And he's, oh yeah, Overwatch 2, even though it's going to be... It's kind of weird how they're doing it. If you remember correctly, they're still going to support
I don't understand
Overwatch
why anybody
1.
would play Overwatch 2. I don't know why anybody would buy that game.
Yeah, well, more so because they're supporting Overwatch, the first game.
The multiplayers will be linked.
Yeah,
so they're not changing anything mechanically.
I know. Yeah,
why even have it? Just to give us a crappy campaign?
Yeah, they are doing that. Yeah, Who knows? But either way, I've been having more fun with it. I'm going to play it more.
That's great.
Who knows if I'll fall off again? But as of right now, I don't think I have any plans to.
That's fantastic. I've been playing more Mario Galaxy.
Yeah.
Still great. Still phenomenal. Still loving it.
Seen a lot of streamers playing that game now
God,
that's back
so
in the public eye.
It's just a joy. I've been playing a little more Hades. Not as much as I would have liked to, but I've been playing more. But the big news today, Connor,
is
I've done it. Platinum Trophy number 50.
And what's number 50?
In the books, Connor. What is it? It is my favorite game of all time. It is the game that I can make a goddamn great case for being the best game of all time. And that is Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, Connor. Oh my god. I've been playing this game for probably almost a decade at this point.
You pick it up and put it down. You pick it up and put it down. It's a never-ending game for that.
It's a game maybe once every other year or so. I pick it up, play through, put it down, and come back in another year or two.
Yeah, helps that it's a short game, and you've obviously.
I mean, compared to games today, you can still break 20 hours in that game.
Yeah, but you don't. You do it really quickly.
No. In fact, I started a playthrough yesterday and beat it that night, or beat it last night at
4 hours. You said
3 a.m. I think it took me 5, but whatever.
Oh.
Yeah, what a phenomenal game. And that's a game, somehow, I'm still learning new things in. Like, I talked to you about this before the show. I learned about a new face paint that I didn't know was in the game. I learned there's a unique death animation if you're pressed up against a wall. I learned that there's an area in the game where there's a bunch of booby traps, and that area is in between a science lab and a warehouse. And in the science lab, they've got all these scientists who have been kidnapped from Russia from Germany because this is post-World War II. So the Russians had gone through, kidnapped a bunch of scientists for the arms race. And I learned in this area with a bunch of booby traps, you can find a scientist who escaped and triggered one of those traps and is like hung up and he's all bloody because he got hit with like a spiked log. And he's like just hanging there. I'd never noticed him before. And I noticed him on my last playthrough here. Man, the game is phenomenal.
Well, a lot of details in that game.
Huh?
A lot of details in that game.
Oh my god, so many. And there's so many like creative things. When I was playing Last of Us 2 with my mom, there were a lot of moments where she was like, "Why don't you just go do this? Like why don't you just go like hide in a locker and like wait for them to run past?" And I go, "Well, I can't, Mom, because it's just a video." And she goes, "Why can't you?" And I go, "Because it's a video game." But in Metal Gear Solid 3, you can do things like that.
Yeah. As long as they don't look in that locker, you're kind of set.
Yeah, you're golden, buddy.
Uh-huh.
Like, there are so many things you can do in that game that, like, he goes, "What happens if I do this?" And then they've thought of an answer for it. Now, granted, as time has continued, it's a little more limited than maybe like a Breath of the Wild is in its experimentation.
Well, yeah, when did this game come out? 2005?
Something like that, 2004, 5. 2004 or 5, something like that. So, technology will limit you in some ways, but like, it's literally like there are certain mushrooms that you can pick up. You can pick up that mushroom, and before you eat it, if you call your health expert, there will be like a thing of like, "Oh yeah, it'll be great," this, that, and the third, and you'll eat it and it poisons you. And if you call her back, you'll be like, "Yo, what the fuck? This poisoned me," and she goes, "Oh." Well, that doesn't sound right.
Shouldn't have done that? Shouldn't have?
Or there's another mushroom that, like, it glows. And if you call them, Snake will be kind of silly. He'll go, "Wait, but if I eat it, does it recharge my batteries?" because video games.
Yeah.
And everybody on the call goes, "No, Snake, it won't recharge your batteries if you eat it." But then if you go and eat it and it recharges your batteries and you call them back, he goes, "Hey, it worked. It recharged my batteries." And they go, "What the fuck? What are you talking about?"
Yeah, it did it.
It did it.
Snake's an enigma to them. He's like, "Who is
so
this
good.
fucking guy?"
It's so good. And if you, this is obviously not Solid Snake. It's Big Boss, but he has the codename Snake for now. You can hide in a box, Connor. And if you call your weapons expert about being in the box, he'll be like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing in that box?" And Snake just goes, "I don't know. I saw it, and I felt the overwhelming need to get in the box. I feel at home here in the box. Like, I was always meant to be in the box. Do you know what I mean?" And homie on the line goes, "No. What are you talking about?"
No, father like son.
It's such a good game. But no, that game is the perfect balance between, gameplay experimentation, fun gameplay mechanics, tense gameplay moments, phenomenal boss fights. All the systems are useful and fun to use. I think some people complain about the amount of digging through menus you have to do to change your camouflages. I think that's a little overhyped. In reality, you use like 4 camouflages and you just cycle between them. The story is both a masterclass of camp and character writing. The ending is one of the best video game endings of all time, full stop. Like, oh my God, the way the music hits, and then the final pose, and then the final shot, and then there's secret cameras that, like, there are moments in the cutscenes where you can hold a button, and the game tells you. You can hold a button, and you see it from Snake's perspective. It's first person. But there are secret moments where the game doesn't tell you can do that. And when you do that, there are moments like, the game's old, so I can spoil it. When you beat the final boss, it's a very emotional moment for Snake, because that character means a lot to him. So you kill her, and then you can hold that button, and it's one of those secret moments right after you kill her, where you see her ghost and the ghost of her lover disappear. And you're like, oh, that's kind of sweet that they're together now. Like, this is fun. What? Why is that in there? Why?
Much less hidden at all, actually.
Good, dude. Oh my God, I love that game so much. I can't wait to play it again. I might play it again right now. You want to watch me play it?
No. I got a paper to write.
Oh, that's fair.
But I remember that ending hitting pretty hard, especially for someone that just kind of jumped into the Metal Gear Solid franchise, into 3. Also, you said forget 2, 4, 1, play 3.
3, I would argue, is the only game in the franchise you can jump in and 100% understand what's happening.
Oh, yeah.
There's an argument to be made for Peace Walker and maybe Metal Gear Solid 1. No, you could jump into Metal Gear Solid 1. Probably better than even Peace Walker. But 3 is for sure, I think, the best starting point for that franchise. God, I love 3 so much.
It does make sense that 3rd is the first game you should play. It really does make sense.
Well, narratively, it is the first.
Yeah, it is, but like that's
canonically,
why.
It's the first game.
That's why. It's so much easier to jump into that and have that be your introduction, and then go forward with the story. But it's convoluted as it is.
You know, it's still before, like, the storyline was convoluted, but they intentionally took a step back and simplified it again for 3.
Yeah.
And then it's before Metal Gear Solid 4, where shit just became a fucking, like, anime.
And all the wrong reasons.
Well, some of the right reasons. But, yes, a lot of wrong reasons it became.
The right
nanomachines.
Oh, you don't like nanomachines?
You got a question? Nanomachines are the answer. Yeah, and then just the fucking travesty that is Metal Gear Solid 5. Narratively. Yeah, so, man, I love that game. It's phenomenal. Everybody should play it. If you haven't played it, you're doing yourself a disservice. You, Connor, should play it again.
Probably not.
No, probably not, but you should.
I got what I want out of the game, and that's a lot.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
I was emotionally invested in the story, and
well, you've only played that one. You should honestly play the whole series. Well, I guess you played 5 too, but you didn't make it that far.
I got very far.
You got to the end of like the Act 1, where the actual story ends and doesn't continue for like 20 hours to give you a twist that doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. God damn, terrible.
It's bad, dude.
Yeah, it's so sad.
It has you replay so many missions that you already played, except now it's 10 times harder for no reason.
That's why I kind of stopped. It was just no reason at that point.
God, that game sucks.
I remember I was so excited about that villain. Because I loved...
Oh, and that villain's terrible.
I know.
There's no boss fights in that game.
And then there was who's the main bad guy at 3? Not Gorbachev.
Volgan.
He's back in 5?
Kind of.
He's the fire guy?
He's like a hallucination, but he's not.
He's not a hallucination, but is he? And
nobody knows!
He could have fought you, but he just walks off and kills himself?
It's like a Psycho Mantis thing, I think.
Yeah.
I think because there's like a child Psycho Mantis. Does he kill himself? No, you kill him, don't you?
Does he? I thought he...
No, you fight him and kill him. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then it actually reveals that it actually is Volgan. Except it's not. It's Psycho Mantis. Except it's not. It's Volgan. That game's not good.
No. Gameplay is good.
Yeah, but...
It runs out of its novelty very quickly.
I think so. I mean... A lot of people disagree with me, but
yeah,
I think that's just because they don't know. I think that's because people who praise MGS5's gameplay are the same people who said, MGS3 they're just giving a bunch of fan service. Like, it's just so that because MGS2 was such a mess, like, narratively, and people were mad because you don't play a snake in that game. And I'm like, well, first of all, those first 3 games are classics. All 3 of them. All 3 of them are some of the greatest games you could ever play. 3 just happens to be my favorite. And it's nostalgia. And for a second, Connor, I thought Last of Us 2 might overtake Metal Gear Solid 3 as my favorite game of all time. After finally platinuming it, nah. MGS3 is perfect. It's perfect. Oh my god, it's so good. They should remake it.
Not really much I can say about that beyond that.
I want Blue Point. I want Blue Point remakes of Metal Gear.
Oh, it won't happen.
I mean, they basically, like, I wouldn't call them remakes, but like the remastered, like, Legacy Collection that came out on PS3 and Xbox 360, those are Blue Point games. But
are they?
Yeah, Blue Point did those, but they're just ports. They're up-res ports.
Yeah. It was before Konami was also holding back anything to do with any of those franchises.
Yeah, but I want full Blue Point remakes of at least the original 3 games, but I'll take even 4. Give me 4. Give me a Blue Point remake of 4.
Maybe after Demon Souls it will happen.
It won't.
It won't. Konami.
They'll do Dark Souls next or something.
No. I don't know what they would do, actually.
Who knows, man?
Yeah.
Who knows? But anyways, that's all I got to say about what's playing. I might have more to say next week. It might just be more Hades and Mario and Ori.
Yeah.
But until then, this has been your Two Pennies Gamecast, episode 10. Not much of a celebratory episode. We're gonna have to do better next time.
Well, I said it was gonna be like. Well, it wasn't that long. What's the time on this right now? We're looking at
an hour, almost 20.
Okay, well,
that's a good length. I like this length. We should stick to this length as opposed to the 2 hour we had last week.
But we won't.
Some of the 50 minutes we've had in the past.
But we probably won't. It's almost hard. Like
probably won't. I mean, the problem is we don't put a good hard stop on it, and
no.
I'm probably a little too loosey-goosey with how I drive the show. But
I mean, I'm fine with that.
And we just talk until we're done talking.
Expect this more to be the case. Just times that can be
or,
different.
You know, expect nothing.
Yeah, I don't expect anything, especially from me.
How about next week? 3 hour episode.
No.
Oh.
I doubt we'll have 3 hours worth of content to talk about, unless we want to say.
Oh, dude, I could talk for 3 hours about anything.
Well, you could, but I don't want. I don't want
to. Until then, Mondays, 8 a.m. At wherever we're providing them, YouTube and SoundCloud.
Maybe Spotify.
We're looking into Spotify. I looked it up. We're making plans. We're making plans.
Yeah.
Until then, have a great week.
Bye.